A lot of us, we've dealt with other people's issues, problems, and emotional fluctuations, and all of their negative energy for a very long time. A lot of us grew up in toxic households. We had extremely toxic people around us that would yell, scream, maybe be physically abusive, emotionally abusive, verbally abusive, and even spiritually abusive. And these people had their own problems. They had their own insecurities. They were trapped in their own misery and their own isolation of themselves or whatever they were going through. And instead of taking that energy and trying to, put it into a craft or put it into a hobby, they put it into making your life miserable. A lot of people, when they go through certain things in life, that breaks them or hurts them, a lot of normies and a lot of NPCs, what they do is whenever they get into a position of power, they abuse those who don't bother them at all. And you'll see this a lot on jobs, schools, and things of that nature, where it's always the people that keep to themselves, the people that are generally good people. They don't do no wicked stuff. They keep to themselves and mind their business and focus on their objectives and priorities. But yet, but yet the manager seems to target them or whatever. It's very interesting. And a lot of us, when we grow up in these negative environments, it saps us of our energy. It exhausts us. It makes us extremely tired. You know, you'll notice that you're extremely tired all the time. It's like something is loosening you, something is draining you constantly and persistently and relentlessly. And it's brutal because in order to really make it in this world, you need to focus and you need to have a goal and objective. But the problem is the system is designed to trap you. And part of the trap is growing around, being around toxic people and going around toxic people. Like that's a trap. But some of us were forced to be in these positions or these events or these negative interactions. Like it's forced upon us. You have to go to work every day. But even before work, the people in your house, you can have family members that tear down your dreams every time you bring them up. So you stop bringing it up, and then people think you're doing nothing with your life. But it's not that you're doing nothing; it's just that you're silently and secretly working on your dreams and ambitions because nobody around supports them. Nobody wants to really see you succeed, and that's a problem in this world. It's like we don't have a strong foundation, especially a strong family foundation that can really build you up, that can really put you in a position to win. It's going to be very difficult to come out here and try to get $1 million or come out here and try to be financially stable without working 2 or 3 jobs and tiring yourself out. Remember, your body has its limits. If you put too much stress on your body, you can develop all types of negative things, and then you're really going to be in a bad position because once you have any health issues in this world, you break your arm, you break your leg, and you already don't have nowhere to go. You don't have that much money. You're going to be crap out of luck. And nobody's going to be there to help you, especially if you're a male, right? Because the system's not designed to help lonely men and people that are rejected and isolated. The system is designed to only benefit those that already have things, to benefit those who are already in positions of power, wealth, and influence. Crazy world, man. It's very annoying when you really think about it. How the greed just proliferates and expands. And the poverty also proliferates and expands. Ain't that something? But a lot of us from a young age, we develop these negative habits or what society would call negative habits, such as isolating ourselves in the room, playing video games and watching anime because we had some toxic people around us. We had people that would try to bully us and make us feel less than, make us feel like we don't belong. And we noticed that being around people, there was always trouble. Like if you notice something about your life, you'll notice that all the things that happened to you that were negative involved other people. It usually involves somebody on the outside trying to come and destroy your inner peace. You know, that's usually how it starts. And when you have families and and it's toxic dynamics. You have a dad that never really taught you anything about life, never really prepares you for being a man in this world, and that what your father should have taught you is that, a man should have his own type of business. It's okay to have the 9 to 5, but you need to have something on the side in case the 9 to 5 goes away. Something that you own, something that you can pass down to the family, a family asset has to be integrated and established because that's how families grow wealth. That's how they grow wealth exponentially. That's how they grow wealth and succeed and thrive. A lot of us we come from families that never really had nothing prepared for us financially, and a lot of us got yelled at. A lot of us got whoopings when we were when we were younger. You know, like I grew up in the '90s, and like every time, like back in the days when my grandma got mad, like really mad, she was from the South, so when she got mad, she'll go to a bush and she'll take like she'll whip off a stick, like a branch off a bush, and she'll call them switches, and she's like, I'm gonna get that switch, and she'll go outside, find a bush, and like, and like literally snap a piece of a twig off a bush, but it'll be like a big branch sometimes, and she'll try, like, and then you get whooped with that if she catches you. Like, it's crazy. It's wild to say that now, right? Because like people will think that, oh, that's some type of, abuse or whatever, but that's how it was back in the days. It was normal in those days. Like we all got our ass whooped. Like we all got whoopings. At least when I was coming up. But nowadays, if you do that nowadays, then it'll probably be some legal ramifications. But in those days, it was different. You know, and I think that does play a role, though. Because it made me. I noticed when I got, like, every time I got whoopings and stuff like that, because I was a kid, like, I guess I was very hyper when I was a kid, so I get whoopings a lot, right? And some are justified and some I don't think so. But, I think that plays a part to what made me polite and respectful, and what made me pretty much susceptible to, following the path of the normies, all right? Because in the home environment, it sets you straight or whatever. Like it kind of set the parameters or whatever. Then you go out into the real world, those same parameters you kind of follow. So you're respectful because you think you may get whooped again, you know what I mean, or whatever. So you're polite because of, you're scared of the punishment. It's kind of like the God of the Bible, where if you don't listen to what he says, there's always a punishment. There's always something to try to bring you down, to bring the hammer down and, try to punish you for something. It's crazy, you know? But some of these traits that the people around us have that are negative, when you're forced to live around somebody that's negative, they have these negative habits, sometimes if you be around that, you'll start being influenced by that negativity as well. So if they do something petty, you'll try to do something petty back to get revenge, and then you get trapped in that cycle. And you don't want to do that because that's just sapping your energy. That's archonic behavior. The archons will like throw a rock at you. And then if you respond, they're just going to keep throwing rocks back and forth because the objective is your energy. They want your attention. They want your energy because your energy is pure. Your energy is light. Your energy is creativity and innovation. And parasites and negative energetic vibrational frequency beings, these things feed off positive energy. It's why when you're in your room, when your family talks about you and say, "Oh, all he does is stay in that room all day. He don't do nothing. He just rots in the room." Why are they even thinking about you? Like why? If you're out of the way, minding your business, you're not bothering nobody, And of course, they want you to get a job, and you're working on getting the job or whatever. But for the most part, why do they care what you're doing? That's the most craziest thing to me is when people, they say they don't like you, they say they don't want nothing to do with you, but then they want to know what you're doing. They monitor you. And then if you're not living life to their expectations, then they start to just treat you toxically. And those toxic behaviors develop toxic habits that you develop because you're trying to cope. So when somebody has a toxic behavior in your family, like let's say like you have a dad that loves yelling and loves getting mad, like your dad has a short temper. So that teaches you to walk on eggshells all the time. Like it's so bad that you can't even cook food at night because he doesn't want to hear any noise at all. And if he hears any noise, he's going to come down the stairs yelling or possibly even start getting physical with you. So At nighttime, even though you're hungry, you don't eat. Or you just have a bag of Doritos or whatever. That's going to teach you like that's going to follow you into adulthood. And those negative energies that people around you had, that's gonna follow you. And then you're going to start behaving in those patterns, and it's like this invisible system of change has been upon you, and it apprehends you. A lot of what people did to us when we were younger, it affects us today, right? A lot of that stuff, man. Like, that's why I think children, that they should have like a different type of school where it's literally no bullying at all. Like, it's more monitored to the point where children can't be bullied, and children are allowed to grow up in an environment where whatever they dream of, whatever they think they can achieve, it's rewarded. So if a kid says, I want to be an author, then a teacher should push them to that direction. Like, children should choose what they want to be like in life, and it can be anything, literally. Somebody can say, I want to be a music producer, and then they should go around that path at a young age. I think if we're taught our talents at a younger age, and we're taught to refine and define our talents at a young age. Let's say like at 5 years old, you start playing the piano. By the time you're 35, you have, 30 years of experience. So you started when you were a child. Now you got muscle memory. So now you're probably going to be one of the best producers in the world, possibly. And you can turn that into a career, you see? But instead, they have us all indoctrinated, going to the same place that's like manufactured propaganda, where we listen to they just regurgitate things from a textbook. They don't really teach you how to think. They teach you how to, quote unquote, memorize and learn, quote unquote, but they don't really teach you how to think outside the box, and how to win at life and make millions of dollars and be successful financially is thinking outside the box. You can't go and do what everybody else is doing and think you're going to be some successful entrepreneur, because all the successful entrepreneurs, they had something that was unique, and they had something that people liked. So that's that. And the world's not really designed for people to really be financially stable anyway. And one of the hardest things in life is when you're not financially stable, it messes with your mind. It really does. When you're not financially stable, it really takes its toll at times, because you're always worrying about money. You're always worrying about fish. And it's like your body is always hungry, or is going to get hungry. You're going to get thirsty. Sometimes you want to you want to have some ice cream, because, like it helps you cope as you're playing video games and watching anime, right? And these things all cost, and they're getting more expensive. And it's reprehensible that we don't have any type of program that can help guys in this position. I think if you have like a terrible life, the government should have some type of program and some type of system where they help you. They should give you like 2,100 a month or 3,000 a month. Hell, 6,000 a month. Like, and just like let us live in like a small little city or a small little location. Like, they can make mini houses. Hell, they can pay us to make mini houses. Hell, we'll make the houses, or just have the prefabricated houses. You know, and we just live in one little small area, and they just tell us, look, the government will be able to pay for all your stuff, but you got to sign this paper that, you know, you'll never get married or something like that, and a lot of us will be like, hell, okay, so I get to have a free house, it may be a small mini house, but it's still 2 stories, it's still nice and spacious for me, you can play your Xbox, your PlayStation, your PC gaming, you can blow the Mary Jane to the brain, you can still order DoorDash and food, you have free internet, the only thing, the only thing is that, you can't get married or whatever. Like you can't have a wife or whatever to help pay bills, or to be there with you or whatever, something like that, because like, let's say it's free. Let's say they give it to us for free, like the house, right? So it's no bill. So, but you can't have a woman live there with you. A lot of us, hell, that's that like, a lot of us, well, are living like that now, and they have a place where we know we can't get kicked out. We know we're not going to be homeless, and we just can't have like a girl there or whatever. A lot of us can't get no girls anyway. So that's a win for us. So we can just still go out there and go to certain places, and maybe you can have a lady of the night, maybe you can have, You can go to like brothels or someplace like that and engage in your needs, right? But you just can't, have a woman live with you or whatever. That's like a rule from the government, right? And I bet some people probably break that rule on the low, but right? But still, like imagine they had like that, like a little small city for guys like us, and we get to live in those tiny homes, right? But they'll never do that because they rather have people like us suffer just so they can lose us, right? Because this world, like in this world, when you're not a wealthy person, it's going to be hell because you're going to be forced to do things that are unspeakable and unimaginable. You're going to be forced to go to a place that abuses you daily. And then when you come home, all you can think about is going back to that place in the morning or at night. And it's a repetitive cycle, all so you can earn some money. And then you pay bills, and then you got to go back just to earn some money, just to pay bills. You see the trap in that? Like, do you see the trap in that? You wake up, you go to your 9 to 5 so you can earn money because you need to survive. But then you earn the money, but you have nothing to save. And the little money you do save and invest is not life changing money, right? So it's like the system's designed to perpetually trap you unless you know the right people. Unless you know people that can get you in a high position, people that can open up doors for you that can't be or that can't just be opened by hard work alone. People like to think that all it takes is just hard work, but no, it takes hard work, luck, and knowing the right people that can open those doors. And some people don't even work hard at all. Some people are just born into the right people, the right family, and they make it because of nepotism. Because nepotism is very prevalent and prominent and dominant in today's society as well. It's how a lot of people get by, that know people, right? But most of us, we're in a position where we don't know nobody, and nobody wants to help us. And we're still dealing with the psychological ramifications of toxic people in our life. Growing up around toxic people that made us pretty much despise ourselves. They took away our self-esteem to try to achieve. Like, one thing that sucks is when you have family or when you have people around you that try to take away your self-esteem and make you feel like you'll never achieve anything. Like they'll do that. They'll say little things. They'll do little things that's just designed to break you. It's designed to make you feel weak. It's designed to make you just wallow in self-defeat and pity and misery. And then they wonder why we want to stay away from people. They wonder why we don't want to interact with people. They wonder why that we just want to be left alone. And sometimes you have so much psychological trauma from growing up in toxic environments. It's very difficult to heal and rehabilitate and try to revitalize that energy that you once had. A lot of us, we really dreamed that we were going to be something great in life or be something successful in life. We really had dreams and ambitions and inspirations and aspirations, man. We didn't want to be just a zero, or a villain or anything. Like, we just wanted to be normal people that were successful. And the fact that this world, it doesn't give certain people what they want, but other people, they get exactly what they want. There's certain people where whatever they want, they get it. Like, whatever it is, like, they want something, they're going to get it. But for other people, when they want something, the world just does whatever like the world does whatever it can to make sure that person never gets it. Like, if you want a girlfriend, the world will make it like almost impossible if you're a certain type of guy to even get a girl to even look at you. And any type of female interaction that you get is always on a low vibrational frequency. It's always something negative. She's frowning at you, or she's either laughing at you, or something that's negative, and it's all due to how you look like. And that's another thing about this world is looks matter more than people want to admit. Looks are some people's prioritizations, everyone's prioritization. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest. We all like cute girls, and girls, they like handsome guys. But we got to understand that we should date people within our looks match. So if you look a certain way, you should be able to find a girl that looks kind of like you. And you guys just have to compromise. But the problem is, a lot of these girls, sometimes you have a basic Becky, and she'll have Chad a few times, and now she thinks that She just like she thinks that she's of a material value where she only just deserves Chads and Tyrones and top level guys, ball players, rappers, movie stars, people like that, or just people that have a lot of money, or people that just look genetically just gifted and blessed, right? And any other regular guy that's not like a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, then she just ignores. And she'll get hundreds of text messages. She'll get all types of matches on these dating apps. But if they're not the Chad that's up to her standards of what she wants, then she'll say she's lonely. Meanwhile, there's guys out there that never touched a woman in their life and they're older than 25. There's guys out there that are virgins in their 30s. That's wow, right? That's wow. It's like, imagine going back to ancient society and saying that, because like ancient Rome was like a promiscuous society, you know, and people were getting their rocks off a lot, right? But nowadays it's like a crime for people who don't look like the standard of beauty to want to be happy and have love. That's crazy, right? You would think because you're ostracized from society and society loves to just create chaos around people that don't bother anybody. You know, you would think society would want to make sure those men are mentally taken care of. That's what I want. That's what I wanted to say. Like, you would think society would want to help guys like us in this position, because mentally, when you check out, and mentally when you get stressed and you get you get in a position where your confidence is gone. You can't even fake being overconfident. You can't, like, because life is so bad and life is so brutal, and your back gets against the wall. And when your back's against the wall, and you have so much emotional frustration, anger, and you have no outlook, you have no outlet. That's a very scary situation, because what's the best way to explain this? In World War II, the Japanese had the kamikaze, and that's the best way I can explain this while following YouTube's guidelines, rules, and regulations. Right? you know, that's crazy, man. We have to do that. Just ridiculous, man. This Illuminati censorship is just ridiculous. It's just, you can't really say what you really want to say. Like, you have to be extremely careful now. It's just like, wow. I grew up in the days of the internet where you could just say whatever you really wanted, right? It wasn't this much monitoring. But anyway, let's just put it this way, man. A lot of, like, usually in the past, in history, the men who were ostracized, or the men who were just pretty much expendable, were pretty much in the military. Thrown to the front lines of battles, sieging castles. They'll be like the first amongst the ranks, and they'll throw like that hot tar on them, and it'll get attached and all that, and they'll fire arrows and all of that. And throughout history, a lot of men, they passed away without ever reproducing. And a lot of those guys probably were excess men like us, not really accepted in society. Of course, you had your knights and stuff like that, but that's a totally different class of people. Those are like more wealthy people. They're like elites in a way. And a lot of us wouldn't be part of that class. Like I guarantee, if I time travel back through history, I'd probably be in a poverty class. Like, I wouldn't be an emperor of Rome. I wouldn't be some famous general or some famous admiral. I'd probably be working on a farm somewhere, doing backbreaking labor all day with an evil master. Like, that'd probably be my life. And that's sad. Even back then, excess men didn't get a break. And now in the future, you think that with all this technological innovation and enhancements and augmentation, things are going to be better. Things are going to be great. And things got worse. There's more social isolation than ever. I can talk to somebody from Germany right now within seconds. All they got to do is just comment on my channel, and I can reply to them. And they're all the way in Germany, right? In seconds. but yet people are more isolated than ever. People are more sadder than ever. People are more miserable, and that correlates directly to the 9 to 5 job. A lot of people are miserable because the job they have to do every day is miserable. Think about it. If most of your attention, if you got to spend 8 hours, some people 12 hours a day doing something that you really don't want to do, but you have to in order just to survive, it's like it's putting people on a hamster wheel to feel this exhaustion, to feel tired, to feel like just to feel drained. So that way, when you're drained, you can't really think critically and do analyzation. You can't really think about ways you can combat the government and with all their tyranny. You know, it's uncanny how people don't notice this. Like you can just really look at the world and you can see the fomentation of a new world order. You can see the invisible prison bars being set. The generation 70 years from now are going to be so angry with us because, and then I guarantee, like right now, people like you can talk about the American president and all this like that. Like it's not like North Korea where if you say anything bad about the leader, you'll be arrested immediately. In America, you have freedom of speech, right? But it's not going to be the same 70 years from now. Something can happen. Like this is why it's bad to go all digital because how many times have we seen like PlayStation get hacked, Xbox get hacked, or these different websites and these different things get hacked, and all this stuff is released, right? So imagine in the future if everything's kept on a database. Let's say people put their money, like all the money's electronic. Like it basically is now. And all of a sudden, like they say, a hacker came in there and stole everybody's money, and the banks have no money. Can you imagine the chaos that's going to happen? Like that would cause and that would happen if everybody in the world just had $0, but they still had to pay bills. Because even though there's no way to pay bills because there's no money, the government's still going to demand you to pay the rent, and if you don't, they're going to kick you out the house by the millions, and that's going to cause some type of civil conflict, right? Because people are gonna get sick of it. Now people are gonna get fed up because imagine working hard all those years and listening and doing this, that, and the third, and especially normies. You know how normies are. They have like so much money. Some of them. Well, most normies don't. Most normies are broke. But some of the upper tier normies that have money and savings and investments, and some of the rich normies, they're going to be like, wow, because they lose that power and they lose that social dynamic, so they're going to be lost. Meanwhile, people like us, we know how it feels like to be broke with nothing. So to us, it's just another day in the office. But to like normies or whatever, it's going to be hard. But in the future, it's going to be so much censorship. It's going to be ridiculous. I often wonder, when will we actually be able to go to another planet freely? But that's never going to happen because they're not going to allow the normal people to do that. I truly believe that man had star travel and star flight thousands of years ago due to the archons given advanced technology. Because some of these archons, they got spaceships as well. Some of these reptilians, they got reptilian fleets and spaceships. I know it sounds ridiculous, but trust me, I did my research. There's a thing called the secret space fleet, and it's not, and they don't work with NASA. Like NASA is just a front. NASA is a Central Intelligence Agency front. Like this. That's basically what it is. Oh yeah, we got this old school rocket. No, that's not. No. They got real shit, real spaceships, bro. These people have went in caves, went in pyramids, and they found giants. And they found like these giant, what you would say spaceships deep underground in different places, even underwater. They found these giant ships. Some of these ships are as big as cities, but it's all classified and hidden away, and it's on a need to know basis, right? It's crazy. And when you understand this, you also wonder, what else is the government hiding? What else do they know that they're not telling us? Because they'll tell us everything about some conflicts in another country that we didn't want, but yet we're suffering from the ramifications from that. And life gets harder for the regular person, but life doesn't get harder for the rich and those that cause these problems. And so much secrets that they hide, so much evil that they hide. You can't really trust anything the government says nowadays. And that sucks because you will want leaders and you want people in power who will be honest, but you're not going to get that in a system that thrives off of suppression of real information and oppression of people who have souls. Most people are Hylics and NPCs. Remember that. Very few people have real eternal souls that are really innovative and creative. you know. But yeah, that's it.